I don't have to go to work yet. Oh, but I did catch a machine on fire yesterday.
Oh, that's fun.
That's always nice.
Like a $2 million machine. I caught it on fucking fire.
All right, we got Alan, Mike, Rod, Scott, Benny, Brian. I'm just waiting for Tyler.
Hey, so are we, I don't know what the conclusion was here, but are we doing the muting and then raising our hands and stuff? Is that how this is rolling, or?
I would just... So,
I think for the initial share, that's the way it should. Like the initial each person go, and then
Yeah.
put it up at the end.
Yeah. Let us just, like, you know, like you said, you know, like, have an individual at a time, and then we'll just shoot for, like, whenever, if we have, whatever spare time we have left, that's just for shooting the shit, you know?
Yeah,
Shooting the shit.
Anybody going live for this, or what? Because I can duel you if you want.
I will be soon, as soon as I can. My wife just bought me I forget what it's called, like a iPad or whatever.
Yep.
So next week, I'll have an iPad with a camera and a keyboard and a whole 9 yards. I'll be just using my phone. So you guys inspired me to do new things just for this podcast.
I've been trying to save money to have a fucking tablet or something. I'm trying to
Yeah, a tablet. That's what it's called, a tablet. But I even put a desk in my man cave with a little chair.
Hey,
I got my own
run for my life. What's up, fellas? Hey, no problem, man.
Hey, Rod and Tyler, guys, thanks for joining this week, too, man. We're glad to have you on. Looking forward to keep having you on. We're going to actually, since every time we have new people on, we're going to always reintroduce ourselves. And I think we should introduce ourselves every week, you know, just so all the viewers know who they're listening to and things like that. That way they can like talk, you know, like in the chat and stuff. Because I'm still trying to figure out a way to make it so the live chat will show up on the Zoom so everyone can see it. I might have to just take another camera and point it at there on a big screen. So, but I'm gonna have that done by next week.
Oh shit, that means I'm gonna need another computer because I want to be able to go live, I want to be able to do the Zoom, and I want to be able to watch it live.
So,
Oh, man.
I'm sure you guys have beautiful scenery.
I'm turning on my live right now. I'm on the wrong TikTok.
I'm on the bank.
Oh, he's on the bank. All I saw was a water movement.
Yeah, if I don't get that, if the tablet doesn't show up before next week, I might just do the Zoom on my wife's phone and then go live on mine.
And there's plenty of guys around here. I'm sure I could get one of them to give me a phone for an hour to log into my TikTok and run it live.
Just do the Zoom on their phone and then
Yeah,
use your own TikTok.
that makes sense.
So that way they don't have access to your TikTok after that.
Guys, we're going live in
Like that.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Men's Recovery Podcast, guys. Week number 3. Super. What did I just say? Super excited? Is that how? That's the word for it. We got some new people on, so we're gonna start in the top left with Alan. We're gonna introduce ourselves so y'all know who's on here with us. Take it away.
What's up? I'm Alan, basically recovering addict alcoholic, coming to you from the river today, breaking the cycle on TikTok.
Woo woo! Thank you, Alan. And I am Scott from Choosing Recovery. We are, if you're on our TikTok or checking out all of our TikToks, we are live on YouTube right now. So, Benny?
Yeah, I'm Benny. Go by Sober Canuck on TikTok, and I'm a recovering alcoholic and addict, and grateful to be here. I'm tuning in from Alberta, Canada.
Welcome, welcome. Bri?
Brian, I go by Addicted Mind on TikTok. Turning in the bottom, really.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. Rod?
Hey, Rod, go by Room Small Life. I'm a grateful recovering addict and alcoholic from Dodge City, Kansas.
Thank you. And Scott? But you live in New York?
Pancake.
You live in New York, Scott?
Yes, sir. Upstate. I live about a mile from the lake. I go down the road and I can see Canada across the lake.
I live in Clayton.
Oh shit! I live in Barker. You know Barker and Gasport area.
Absolutely.
That's where I live.
Small world. Small world. Benny Mike, sorry.
Michael, I go by _Shark on TikTok.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Tyler.
Hi, I'm Tyler. Coming from you in Honolulu, Hawaii, and I'm newly recovering alcoholic.
Awesome. Yeah, man, we're all around the globe in here, man.
Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got a dude. There's a dude here in my rehab that's from Hawaii. I talked to him a lot. That's pretty cool.
Did one of you guys just send me an invite on TikTok to Duel? Is that you?
Yeah, that was me, Scott.
You can send it again if you'd like, Benny. I didn't see it.
Well, but-
All right, guys. So we are going to jump right into it. The group topic for this week is people, places, and things, and also like our definition of what we think resentment is and how they play a part in our lives. And that's loud. Yeah. So, Alan, would you like to just jump right into it, and we'll just go from left to right?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Can hear you just fine.
Alright. So, people, places, and things, and resentment. So I thought, the biggest thing that's helped me is immediately changing my people, places, and things. And that didn't mean writing people off. I still have friends that are out there. I still have friends that, I guess you call normies. But after treatment, I never thought it'd be possible to move out of the community I was in. I never thought I could do these things, but someone told me if you want this, you'll do anything required. I moved back to Montana where my family's at. I'm out here on the river now, and really letting go of the things I thought I needed to do and the people I thought I needed to be around really helped. I fell in with a bad crowd for a long time, and I thought they were friends, and that just wasn't the case. Now, I used to spend an average weekend binge drinking and using in my room. I'm out here on the river talking to a bunch of dudes about recovery. I mean, change is possible, and I'm happier. I'm in a way better place. Resentment. Honestly, I think the hardest resentment that I had to let go was myself. I resented myself and everything about me. I didn't respect myself. I hated the people that I had hurt. Really, a lot of the people that I thought it was going to be hard to forgive, it wasn't. It was me that was really hard to forgive. It's myself. I still have to work on my resentment because even in recovery, every now and then, I'll find myself really chapped by somebody, and I just got to let it go. When I do let it go, my days turn around, my weeks turn around. The old character defects still sneak up on me, even in recovery. But doing stuff like this, getting out, being active with you gentlemen in this podcast, preaching our stories, stuff like that, it feeds my recovery. You got to feed your recovery just like you said your addiction. Otherwise, you start to get stagnant, right? When you starve your addiction, you start winning. Well, if you starve your recovery, the same thing, you start falling back into old patterns. But for me, I couldn't be happier to be here today and to be live with y'all. That's what I got.
Awesome, Alan. Thank you, Benny. I had to end the live because it kept echoing, so it was echoing on my YouTube. So sorry about that. I'll jump right into it. So I always thought the people, places, and things was just like a statement that everyone in recovery knew and shared. I never realized how much an effect it had on my life. And in order for me, the last time around, to get clean and sober, I had to go to leave where I'm from. And I've always had a longing for home. But I finally went to a place that they gave me the freedom to allow me to make decisions for myself instead of having everyone else make decisions for me. And they taught me how to learn to teach myself like what's right, what's wrong. I got to go to a meeting every single day, which a lot of programs I've been to did not allow. maybe once a week, if that, or they were just in the facility itself. I got a lot of free time and I got to choose what I did with my free time. So I was like, I actually was like I was making really good choices for myself and setting up a path for me that would help me lead to be more successful. And I was on drug court, and the thing with drug court is I thought that they were going to let me stay with how good I was doing with where I was at, and that was not the option. They said, you're coming home, sorry, but there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I was devastated, you know, like I was at the program, like I'm like, let me stay longer, you know, things like that. And as soon as they said that, it's like, well, shit, man, just let me go home now and get this shit over with, you know, because I was devastated. I've never been able to go home and stay clean and sober. And the only difference was back then, like I thought I could go hang out with anyone I wanted to. I thought I could go hang out at a bar and not drink, you know, go to a bonfire, because I live in the sticks, man, so that's all there was out there, and like things like that. And I had so much like anxiety because I couldn't be in a room alone by myself for more than 2 seconds. I always had to be around people. I always had to be doing something, because I never got to like truly work on myself and my thoughts and like things that happened in my past. It took a lot of work at this program to be able to get outside of myself, you know, to take the healthy risk to better myself. So I finally beat this thing that like it was like a competition for me, man. Like, when am I ever going to be home and be able to stay clean and sober? And I finally done it, and it's such an accomplishment for me, because it doesn't matter where you're at. If you're serious about your recovery, and you have to put so many things between you and your addiction to make it that much harder for you to go back out and use. So like I've taught myself like how to pick up the phone, how to ask for help. If someone doesn't pick up the phone, how to go exercise, how to use, you know what I mean, listen to music, how to, you know what I mean? There's just so many things between me and my addiction now that it's that much harder for me to go back out and use. So with the resentments is I had one person that I had a resentment with, and that's it. You know what I mean? That was my father, and he was taken from me at a very young age, and a lot of those resentments I had stayed there because I couldn't handle those resentments with him because he was gone, you know? So that where it was the borderline of where my recovery and my addiction and my recovery could start, you know? So that's really where the hard work I had to put in order for, and I didn't think that was as big as an issue as it was until I actually put it out on the table, you know? So resentments aren't worth it. That's why I think working the steps, I think everybody should do it, just because it does show you how to get past those things. And then also with like doing an inventory every day, I wish I still did it every day. It would probably, you know, help, but that was a big thing for me, was doing a 10-step or doing my inventory every single day, because I didn't pass on judgment to others. I only worried about my recovery, and that's how I continue to progress. That's how I'm able to help people, because then I'm putting that judgment aside, because even if I don't think you're doing something right that you're doing in your recovery that's helping you, that's not my job to tell you that that's not right. If that's helping you in your recovery, you continue to do that, you know? Like, it's not my place to be like, no, you shouldn't do that. So yeah, that's it for me, guys. I'm gonna pass it on right to Brian.
Hey, please.
So I left my house at 17. I dropped out of high school and moved in with my girlfriend and her family. Her and I ended up getting married and having a child, buying a house. And then after the child, was part of depression. I was a workaholic, so I was,
What consists of inventory? What do you
I
mean?
never learned how to live on my own. I always needed somebody else. So when things went south with my wife, fell apart. Our divorce was easy. We didn't fight with each other. We split everything up. We remained friends. No big deal. left and I just lost something. Like I was alone. I didn't know how to be alone. And then I got involved with the girl next door and was involved in illegal activity. A messed up relationship that I didn't know about.
Strawberry, we are live on YouTube as well right now. If you want to go check us out over there.
I turned to drugs real quick. I ended up.
So like my inventory, like am I growing to, like, am I doing anything to help progress? Like am I exercising? Am I eating healthy? Am I keeping in check on my higher power? Am I reaching out for help if I need it, or am I just sitting my shit? You know, that's called taking your own inventory instead of being like, that person looks fucked up and then just worrying about like that person. You know, like it's when you take your own inventory, it's much easier to just worry about yourself than other people. You know.
I was able to get a hold of my mother, and my family decided to take me back. So I haven't seen this, person since. I don't know where she's at. I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what she's up to. But I'm finally at a point now. I'm ready to get my children back. I beat cancer. My addiction's under control. I've been over 4 years clean. So I'm terrified. I have a lot of resentments with this woman. She is everything that my addiction was. Everything bad that happened, she was there. It's a terrifying point in my recovery. But, that resentment is still something I'm dealing with today. Really have much more on it.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it, man.
That was awesome, Brian.
Yeah, very.
Thanks, Brian.
Very. Also, the YouTube is called Choosing Recovery, guys. Rod, you're up, buddy.
Hey, people, places, and things, man. I got out of treatment, went to treatment on May 23rd, 2014. So when I got out, I left early. 25 days I was at treatment. I went right back to where I was working. And that was my biggest people, places, and things, was right where I worked. I was a car salesman, sold cars for about 14 years. Small community, well, 30,000 people here in Dodge City. So, my general sales manager, my boss, is getting higher drinking than, it was okay up until I went to treatment, I'm not going to get fired, but I had no other job. Would I do it differently now? Well, yeah. I ended up working there for about 9 months. But when I went to treatment, I found out real quick who my my real friends were. All those guys I was drinking and drugging with, they didn't check on me one time. They didn't care because Rod's out of town, so therefore Rod doesn't have anything that they want, and vice versa, But a good friend that I still have to today, like we'll say a normie, he called frequently while I was in treatment. I had talked to him before I went to treatment because I'm like, you don't want to go get drunk, you don't want to go get high, so we don't need to be friends, But that shows you who your true friends are, They always say, get sober, you find out who your real friends are real quick. The resentments was this guy right here. I had a super hard time, and even coming up on 7 years, I still battle, the demons and the things I said or did. I think I couldn't forgive myself at all. In treatment in detox, probably the 4th or 5th day, bawling, talking to my wife on the phone, and she's like, forgiving you. I'm like, that was like after 5 days. So that was a big thing when she told me that she'd forgiven me when I'd been there just about 4 or 5 days. Now I just got to work on myself.
Welcome, Strawberry.
That daily inventory. I'm not a good person at taking my daily inventory. I do work a 12-step program. I've got a good support system now, whether it's guys I've met since I've gotten sober in the AA program, NA program. We got a good group. We got a sponsor, and it's just as easy as picking
Rod, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Scott, we're gonna jump right to you, buddy.
Alright, people, places, and things that has changed pretty dramatically for me. I grew up in a drug addict household. I'm sure I told you all that before. I guess for the other people that are listening, I grew up in a drug addict household, so being around people that drank and did drugs was my norm. There was no, that was
I figured it out.
just the way life was. And as I grew up, and I continued to drink pretty heavily, and that's the type of people that I surrounded myself with. So I was always, that's just who I was, and that's who my friends were. And so when I've tried, I've said before that I was gonna quit drinking. Never really put the work into it though. I just kind of, I'm not gonna drink anymore. And then a week later, I was drinking again because I would hang out in the bars, I'd hang out with my buddies by the bonfires, I'd get on my motorcycle, we'd go ride.
Okay, that's all I need to
And that's what we fucking do, man. It's some bikers do. We drink and we ride motorcycles and do stupid shit. But yeah, that has changed dramatically for me. I still have a good relationship with all my old friends, but I don't see them anymore. Like I get told all the time, oh, we miss you, come around, we don't see you anymore. And they're not bad people. Like they're not the people that made me drink. They're not the people that I committed crimes with. They were just my drinking buddies, man. And a lot of them do still, talk to me, reach out to me. Two of my biggest drinking buddies, I'm the godparent, I'm the godfather to their parents, or to their kids. I went to the birthday party just last weekend, but as I'm standing there with my wife, everybody walked in with a 30-pack in their hand. Everybody had a bottle in their hand, and I'm just standing there, fucking leg twitching. And I couldn't stick around long. I was only there for about 45 minutes, and I had to go. But that's just what life is now. If I want to stay on the track that I'm on, I have to consider myself first. And unfortunately, there's my cat. Hello, cat. Unfortunately, that's just the way it has to be. I miss them, don't get me wrong. I love all my friends, but I gotta do what I gotta do, and that's for you guys. You know what I mean? I've had to change my people, places, and things. I know most young are just virtual, but you guys are there for me when I need you, for sure. I mean, we have a group chat that goes on. Text messages, believe me, I'm reading them and I'm laughing at whatever goofy shit you guys are saying, or whatever you guys are doing for the day. But yeah, people, places, and things that have to change. I do have one good friend that I've been friends with for a very long time, but he's not a drinker. He never was. He does like to smoke pot, but I was never a big pothead. Well, I was a big pothead. So when I was an active drinker, I resented everybody that made it hard for me to drink. Like my kids, like family activities, like things that would take me away from that. And that's a really shitty thing to admit. That makes you a shitty. I feel as though my kids and my wife have all forgiven me for everything. They love me very much. But that made me feel like a very, coming to that realization made me feel like a very shitty person. Like I would get angry if I had to, I would get angry if I had to do things that I couldn't do what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? She's a very lovable cat. And now that I'm sober and I've had time to think about those things, it's made me feel horrible. And I've had conversations with every single one of my kids about that. I mean, and it's a tough thing to do. Actually, at the end of the meeting, if you all don't mind, I actually just wrote my middle daughter, Taylor. She's the most sensitive of all my children. I wrote her a letter yesterday, and I'd like to read that to you guys, because it's the first time I've ever done anything like that. I'll do it at the end, though. It's not real long, but I don't want to take up too much time. But in my sobriety, I've come to resent myself because of the way I resented them while I was drinking. But I've taken steps to be able to forgive myself by having conversations with them and being able to write that letter to my daughter and just clearing the air and clearing my own conscience, and she's not going to give up, and clearing my own conscience and taking the steps that it takes to forgive yourself. And if you have a hard time forgiving yourself, just remember that if you take the steps and you put the work in to do it,
Scott, man, that's awesome, and we will definitely allow you to read that at the end. Looking forward to it, buddy. Tyler, on to you, brother.
Hi, I'm Tyler. People's places and things. People, when I was 17, I joined the Army, and then when I was in the Army, the people was all my other battles. And we drank. It was just a thing that the people did. You know, all soldiers drink, and so we drank at the barracks. And when we upgraded 2 houses on the outside of post, we drank at the houses. We would go down to bars here in Honolulu and just bar crawl the entire night. And I never thought anything of it. You know, it never influenced anything significant besides a couple friendships, a couple people. But there was definitely a trigger in my life, probably when I was getting out of the Army. I realized I could not continue that every day. And for maybe a solid 30 days, I went with, I abstained from alcohol completely, and I looked at my life, and I was like, okay, you know what, I need to be a civilian now. I need a job that actually pays bills. I need to make sure I have electricity. There was a time where I didn't. And you know, it got too much. It got too much. And so I did do that. I did stay away from it. However, people's places and things, just like on the topic, I went back to my old group. The people that were still here at Island, or I met new people at the bar. And instead of drinking with them, I changed and I played pool or I played darts. Casual conversations with cigarettes outside the bar. But overall, in the time that progressed, I would say probably within 40 days, I was drinking again. Never saw anything wrong with it. 6 months ago, really fast forwarding, 6 months ago, my mental state and mental health was not there. I checked out. The best way to put it. I mentally checked out, and I went day by day to be drinking. And I hate to say it that way, but I did. I would literally wake up, go to work, get home, and drink until I didn't wake up. And it became a process where I did it alone, and I did it without people's places and things. And so that would roll into my resentment is my mindset is when I want my fix, when I want my alcohol, my drink, I would say resentment would be me, but specifically drunk me. The guy that slurs his words and yells and is verbally not correct. And I have 27 days sober right now, and I'm attending thank you. I've been attending meetings daily here on Island, Zoom meetings, unfortunately, but still. And I feel good. I have the support of my long-term partner. I have support of her daughter, and a few of my coworkers are still that type of person. Well, you can just have one and not have more. And I'm like, nope. As soon as it touches the tongue, I want the whole bottle. There's no way of stopping that. So that's where I'm at right now.
Tyler, thank you so much. Really appreciate it, buddy. You're doing great, dude. That's some people. I'm pretty sure we can all remember how hard it was to get 24 hours. You know. So.
The first 24 hours was actually the easiest because I felt so much resentment there.
Yeah.
I was hurting. I hurt my family members the day before when I was drunk.
Yeah.
And it that first 24 was fine. It was probably like my 7th day where I was completely alone in my house. I was just like, I gotta change something.
Yeah.
So I started walking. I took the dog to the dog park. I got out of my house.
Yeah. All right. Before we go to Benny, I'm just gonna let you guys know I have to be off at like 3:55, and I want to make sure that you know what I mean, that both you get to share, and then Scott gets to read that letter from his daughter, if that's all right with y'all. Okay. Awesome. Benny, on to you, buddy.
Alrighty, I'm Benny, and yeah, from Canada. No one on TikTok is Sober Canuck. Met a lot of you guys in a very short amount of time, and I tell you what, man. For my recovery, I'm just gonna start off by saying this. In my recovery, I never knew that a social media app could do so much for benefiting my recovery. Just coming from Facebook, right? And Facebook was just a toxic wasteland for my recovery. And that ties into the people, places, and things, right? Because in my recovery, there's been nothing worse for my recovery than other people, places, or things. I'm a chronic relapser. I have so many relapses in my past, and it's always been because of people, places, and things. And it's brutal. So just a brief history. I've been around recovery for about 70 years. That's kind of when I first came into the door. I'm coming up on 3 years here right away, right? But the other years that are accounted for, that I went out and relapsed and went back out there and tried to experiment some more. It was always because of my high expectations. I always had these massive expectations of other people, right? So whether it was a Facebook or Instagram or people at work or wife, kids, it didn't matter, right? I was constantly resentful, and those resentments kept throwing me back out there, right? So one thing that really helped in my recovery, I'll stop talking about the problem. I'll just talk about the solution, what the solution was for me, right? And the solution was that I had to really get to the root cause of why these resentments are happening. So I found that personally in my recovery, I did that in the steps, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's kind of where I found out where the hell this stuff's coming from. I'm not saying that's the way to do it. I'm saying that that's the way I did it. So I just want to make that clear. I don't want to push, step work on people, because that ain't what I'm about. That's just what I do. So, once I came in, I did one set of steps. I came to the conclusions about a lot of people that, they're, maybe it's them. Maybe it's just they're sick, they have problems going on, and I'm just not acknowledging that they have problems, right? So that's the first acknowledgement that I had. And then I did a second set of steps, and then I peeled more of that onion back, right? And it wasn't just that people have their own issues, but my expectations of these people are so damn high, right? I got expectations of my kids that are, my one daughter's 11 and my other daughter's 7. My expectations of them are what I would expect from a 30-year-old, right? So I'm getting resentful at my own children because they're leaving a mess around and they're leaving toys around and they're not cleaning up after themselves. Of course they're not. They're 11. They're 7 and 11. Why the hell are they going to clean up after themselves, right? Like that, I didn't do that when I was 7 or 11 years old, right? So I had and my wife, right? If I used to have interactions with my wife, it was constantly, I had this storyline in my head. I'm going to say this, she's going to reply with this, and then this is how this conversation is going to go, right? It never happened. I always just made a conversation happen, and her reply wouldn't be the reply I wanted. And then all of a sudden I was let down, and I was like, well, fuck, screw this. Sorry about my language, but that's kind of the way I reacted, right? And then it turned into a resentment because the actors weren't doing what I wanted them to do, right? I was the producer of this production of life, and I wanted the actors to do exactly what I wanted them to do. When they didn't do what I wanted them to do, I was let down, right? So then I sat on my pity pot. I felt bad for myself, and usually that sent me back out again, right? So I'll end with this, right? This is how my recovery works. I made a video about it the other day. When I first came in, I had to recover physically because I was physically broken down from years and years and years of hard drinking and stuff. And, then the second thing came the mental, right? And then the third thing was spirituality for me. So one thing I got to really watch in my program, especially with people, places, and things, is my spirituality going? Because if I go on TikTok or I go on any social media or anything like that, and I catch myself starting to get caught into drama and things that people say and all this kind of stuff, then all of a sudden I'm going to start swirling backwards, and I'm going to lose that thing that I have called spirituality. I'm going to lose the mental part of my recovery, and then once that mental part's gone, I'm reaching for a drink, because that's what I do. I'm an alcoholic. I drink, right? I don't need to be angry or sad to drink. I can be happy, excited. It doesn't.
Benny, thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate it, man. Great share. Mike, right on to you, buddy.
What's up, guys? My names are the same on the wall. What are their masks on? And so growing up there and then being ripped away and coming back, when I came back in high school, I was outcast, I wasn't one of the regular people because I wasn't there the whole time. So I ended up turning around with the guys who were already experimenting with drugs and shit like that in high school. So I just kind of started out the gate with the predisposition. And I don't like thinking of it that way, but when I look back on it, I now see the steps, that led me to where I'm at. And I was sheltered as a child, so I didn't know much about drugs or anything going on in the world. And then when I popped up, it was like, oh, hey, this is fun, this is cool. All these people are doing it, they think they're cool, let me try it, And I'm actually getting ready to disconnect from my people, places, and things. Every time I've relapsed after doing good, it's because I went home for something. My kids, it's just being around home. Even when it's dealing with my kids, all I see is drug houses, places that I used to sell dope, places that I bought dope, places that I got high at. You know what I mean? So it's hard, man. And last year I did great. I got out. I had the house, the car, the dogs. Had it all figured out, man. I went back for some dumbass reason. And while I was there, I relapsed. And so now I'm trying not to go home. I'm trying to sit here at this rehab, get it figured out, get some money saved up, and move on. And I think with that, I will go.
Michael, also super proud of where you come at. I don't know if a lot of people know like where you're at now, but you've definitely come a long way yourself, dude. And it's really, and I think it's just very important for everybody to know how to separate themselves from their surroundings, especially when they know it's not okay or right to be around, so.
Yeah. Well, my family, one of the main reasons I'm up here now is I ended up in a motel because my grandma was looking at places in the Carolinas. So when I was at the shit-ass motel, of course I relapsed, and I brought myself up here, and she's getting ready to move. So now the only thing holding me around here is my kids, which I can get custody of them even if I'm out of state or shared parenting. So I think it's time for me to leave. I've been stuck here since I was a long time. Oh, resentment. The court system. I was in the court system. I was angry at them for a long time, and I just kept getting high because of it. But I worked through that. It's been 2 years since I've seen an institution. I'm doing good, I think. So.
You are.
All right, thanks, man.
Appreciate it. All right, we're gonna go ahead and I can't wait to hear this letter. Scott, go right ahead, buddy.
I know, I want to hear it. Oh, my bad.
You're muted, buddy.
Yeah, I forgot about that part.
Yep.
Give me 1 second, I just gotta find it real quick.
Yep.
Y'all can still hear me, right?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I sent this to her yesterday. Says, hey kid, this might end up kind of long, but just read it anyway. Lately I've been doing sort of a personal inventory, and you're a really big part of that. I spent most of my time while you were growing up putting drinking and partying first, not realizing or considering what I was doing. I was doing things all wrong. I put things before you, things that didn't belong there. You deserve better than that, better than what I was. I'm sorry if I ever made you feel second place or in any way unimportant. I should have put you first and been at least some kind of an example of how a good man is supposed to be. Despite all of my shortcomings, she grew up to be an amazing young woman that I'm incredibly proud of. I can't go back and change what I did, but I can be better moving forward. You have grown to be a wonderful person who no longer would need anything from me, but I want you to know that I'll always be here anyway, no matter what. I love you, Taylor. I had to get that off my chest for some selfish reasons. I can't lie, but also let you know that you should have always come first because you deserve that. That's all. I'll let you get back to your day. I love you. And she actually responded, I never doubted that, and you have always been an incredible father figure. We love you and appreciate you very much.
That's beautiful, Scott. That's beautiful.
That's amazing, brother. Good job.
That was my way of being able to get past my resentment. Funny how that ended up being the topic today. Like that was a big part of me being able to forgive myself for the shitty things that I did.
That's the biggest thing I've learned. Like if you let your path just take itself and continue to work on yourself in recovery, the things that are supposed to happen that will heal you will come into place. You know what I mean? It just takes time. My world used to be so fast. Like things never used to come quick enough. I didn't ever get what I wanted because I wanted it, not my higher power. You know, that's why again next week, guys, you got to tune in. We're gonna be touching on the higher power a little bit. So, but really though, like I couldn't imagine how you felt, Scott, and thank you for sharing that.
Well,
Yeah,
funny
thank you.
part of that,
That was
funny
great.
part of that story is that my daughter was with my other daughter and her mother when she read the letter that I wrote. I was not expecting that, but I've had conversations with my older daughter and my younger daughter and my son. But Taylor is my particularly more sensitive child, and I just remember more of things affecting her. So I wanted to say something directly to her. Well, then it ended up between her and my oldest daughter all day long. She kept saying to my oldest daughter, "Yeah, I got a letter because I'm his favorite." And my oldest daughter going, "No, he just gave you a letter because you're sensitive."
Oh.
The coolest thing is that we get to be sober and we get to think about these things now. In the past, we didn't think about these things or how we were affecting people. And my kids being the biggest example, things I thought they didn't see, some things that I thought the kids wouldn't remember. My excuse was always, they're too young, they won't remember this. And now you get to think about it and analyze those things. And I just told my kids, I was honest with them about it. And my son and my daughter they just told me they're happy, they don't want to see me sad anymore. And the fact that now we get to analyze these, make amends, do these things, let these resentments go, is incredible. I'm not letting the resentment go against Texas Roadhouse, so you don't burn a ribeye.
Miracle Whip. Apparently, you have a problem with Miracle Whip.
I hate Miracle Whip.
It's
I'll
not.
never let that go either.
It's not real.
Like you were saying with my kids, man, my oldest daughter, we lived in this shit ass little motel for there were 5 of us, me, my 3 youngest, and their mother. And the littlest was a baby, but it was still crowded as shit. And she'd remember it. So we started. We went up by there once, coming out of Urbana, and she goes, "Hey, look, Dad, it's your old house." She's like 4. I'm like, "Oh God, no, you don't remember that." Like, oh man.
They don't forget anything. That's
Not at all, man.
They don't. It's
God bless them. They're the quickest to forgive us.
absolutely.
Yes.
My,
Yes.
My whole reason for being sober is because of losing my temper with my youngest daughter, and the next day, like after I was told what I did because I didn't remember doing it, the very next day I went up to have a conversation with her about because I felt like a complete ass, you know, and she forgave me instantly. Like it was instant forgiveness, and I didn't deserve it at all. I wanted her to be mad at me. I wanted her to be angry with me, and it didn't happen.
Yeah,
Good
it
kid.
Almost bugs you when you want somebody to hate you for what you did, and they're like, "I forgive you." You're like, "Why?"
It's like, oh, I'm an asshole. Look at it.
wow.
Yeah, I'm an asshole.
I agree.
It's because they know who you really are. They do
I
it.
don't know if anybody else has had this experience before, but I noticed for me, a lot of the people that I had resentments towards when I got into recovery, I was like the same person as a lot of those people, you know. And I remember, like my parents were a prime example of that. I always used to say, like my parents weren't there, and they didn't do the things that normal parents used to do. And then I remember I did my first 4-step, and I put them on my 4-step brain because it was a big resentment of mine. And then my daughter, she brings up, she's like, "I miss when you used to have friends over, and you guys used to play those games in the yard, and we used to play Beersby all the time, right, with the Frisbees." And she used to run and get the Frisbees. Like, she was kind of like our gopher to go get our Frisbees for our beer games, right? And it was like, and I was thinking to myself, like, I'm mad at my parents, but yet my kid was like the beer runner and the Frisbee getter for the games, like it just brutal.
I know exactly how you feel, brother. Like the whole time I was growing up, my mother was a drug addict, and I always had resentment towards her because of all the things, and then you see yourself and you blow it off as normal, though. You're like, it's no big deal. They're just a kid. They'll be fine. And then you think about it later, you're like, fuck, what was I doing?
Yeah.
My childhood was a mess, man. My mom was in and out. She was always there. Like, I always knew who my mom was, but my grandparents raised me. So, like, and then I got ripped away to that private school. Like, you could imagine me coming back to school. Like, any school, I'd be a fucking weirdo. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he went to that weird mental health school. Something's wrong. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm just, a little too fast, so it makes me slow. It happens.
I met my wife in high school, and she had actually just come from a girls' home when she got to my high school.
Buddy, you touched on a couple things that I relate very, very well to you. You're talking about your high expectations with your kids being 11 or 12. Well, I got 2 quick stories. We're a big basketball family. Our son was fortunate enough to play a little college basketball. He's in the military now. But I can remember thank you, yes. Back at you too, Tyler. But I can remember sitting in an AAU tournament, like in Denver, somewhere like that. We traveled, and I'm just beside myself because this little kid is just effing every play up. I'm like, "What you doing? You're throwing the ball away. You missed a shot. You can't rebound." And my buddy, his son was on the team, and he's a college basketball coach. And after about 5 minutes of this, they're like 11, 12 years. Brady's like, "Rod, how old is Christopher?" Like, he's like 12, but he should know better. He's like, "Man, I coach college basketball. I got 22-year-olds that can't rebound and catch the pass." It's just that expectation thing, it just kind of caught my attention. After that statement, every game from then on out until even through college, my hands were underneath my ass. I sat on my hands and just
Let me get
it
in
play,
fun.
And, a lot of you guys, Scott, I think mentioned, getting some fresh air and stuff like that. Some of you may know or may not know, I love to run. That's like part of my recovery. I think
Like a lot. You run a lot.
I ran this morning a lot, But I think just getting some fresh air, that should be part of everybody's recovery. You can go to the gym, run, or whatever. But I wanted to get a little rise out of Scott down there. We've gone back and forth about cardio versus weights a couple times. If you see, look, that's cardio muscle. But I did a video picture of it to add it to my fixture collection. Just kicked it off down into the sand. But it's just, I don't like to use the word trigger. That's just me. Everybody has certain words for certain stuff. But it's just those reminders, I guess. They're out there every day.
Yeah.
Liquor stores still open or still don't. Doesn't matter if it's closed or COVID's out there or what. So I'll let somebody else talk.
Yeah, I don't like the trigger. I don't like the trigger word either. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. No, I
Oh, we were just studying triggers, talking about how they can be as short as 3 milliseconds and still cause like a relapse in the mind. Just a flash of seeing it, how instantaneous it is, and that it's damn near impossible to mount a defense before it happened, which is why a lot of us, we do smart recovery here, not step. I'm going to meetings, so I'm getting ready to start doing the steps, but they always teach us something new. It's like cognitive retraining, and I love it because I'm intellectual, so I like learning more. It teaches you more about the brain, how to change it, pattern, shit like that. It's actually a real good approach. I like it.
Yeah.
And I think the trigger thing too, like for me, I think it all depends on where somebody is in their recovery, right? I think everybody's recovery is different. So I've met people that have been clean and sober for 15 years, and they don't go to pubs, they don't go to bars, they don't do any of that stuff because it's just how their recovery works, And I've had people actually judge my recovery before because I'm one of those people. I don't hide from it, right? I don't hide from alcohol or events with alcohol and stuff like that. But it's because the way I think my recovery works. I'm gonna say I think because I don't know what I think I know, right? But if I relapse again, or something's gonna trigger me to take that next drink or do that. I've already relapsed long before I grab that drink, right?
Facts.
And the thing is, I need to know where I'm at in my program or in my recovery. So if I go to a concert and I know that there's going to be like beer spilled on me all night and everything else, I got to make sure that like up here is in check before I go there, right? So if I'm going to be going to an event and like we're talking about, I'm filled with resentment. I just got laid off from my job. I've got all these problems going on. Maybe tonight's not the best night to go see Slayer. You know what I mean? So it's I just gotta make sure I know where I'm at in my recovery before I put myself in certain situations.
Absolutely.
I've definitely had times where I try to talk myself into it. Like I'm like, come on, was I really that bad? I mean, come on, I can go out and drink from here, and nobody's gonna be mad at me. Because honestly, nobody would be mad at me.
No, they want you to.
Well, not like that, but even my family, you know what I mean? They wouldn't be upset with me. I mean, they might be disappointed in me, which is what I want to avoid. I don't want to disappoint my family. I don't want to disappoint myself. Well, I have to remember myself. As selfish as that sounds, though, I don't want to be the one that wakes up in the morning and goes, fuck.
Yeah.
Did I say something out of it? Did I do something again? I don't ever want to be that guy again. And I have to constantly remind myself that I don't want to be that guy again, ever again in my life.
Yes.
Never again. Say never
I have
again.
zero in between. For me, like you'll know if I ever go back out because I'll be in jail. And there's no happy times anymore. When I drink, it's just sober jail. Like, yeah, and now just doing, like that whole do the next right thing phrase. I love that because it's put me in a great position where I actually have something to offer somebody rather than just my messed up mental cycle and resentments. You know what I mean? I feel like a happier person today that somebody will enjoy being around as long as I don't drink and don't use.
Going back to triggers, the one thing I was thinking about is someone did a TikTok about dreams being relapse. I thought it was you, Scotty, but I'm not exactly sure. But it's basically when you have a dream and you're dreaming that you're drinking or you're using, and you wake up and you panicked and you're in. So I actually just had one literally like a day ago, and I was only taking a nap, like an hour nap, and I was just I
Because they feel real, man.
That's exactly it.
I gotta place one of my triggers every single day. You guys remember how I mentioned motels, shitty ass motels being my trigger? This rehab that I'm in, it's an old renovated motel that's attached to an old renovated strip club. I'm like, I'm like, man, I was just living in one of these. Like,
All right, guys. I'm sorry that I have to. All my Saturdays are cleared from now on. I usually don't do that, but I honestly.
We don't hold on to resentments, bro.
That's cool.
Love it. Guys, if you haven't followed all these guys on TikTok yet or anything, like definitely go check all these guys out, man. They're super helpful to my recovery, and I know they've helped out many more people too. If you're interested in being a part of this, what we're doing, we're gonna be adding on another day during Wednesday because we are just getting more and more people. I'm pretty sure the Brady Brunch screen can't take that many more people. So we're definitely going to have to add on another group. And also, we have a women's podcast every Sunday as well. So you can get in contact with Olivia for that. And super blessed to have you all on. I look forward to seeing you guys every week, man. So,
Thanks for having us, Scotty.
no, thanks. Absolutely.
Fish.
All right. Yeah.
some TikTok content so I don't look like I'm pretending to be a creator. My man's had me fucked up.
All right, guys.
Okay.
There you go.